Hello everybody, my name is Bob Stafford. I'm a retired railroader and avid model railroader. I originally worked for Deary Locker 1 as an agent operator. After Conrail, went to work for Burlington Northern as an agent operator, and later as a yard clerk. And I retired from the BNSF Railway as a trainmaster. Today I want to talk to you about my thought process in designing the yard at Wilkes, Pennsylvania on my Susquehanna and Hudson River Railroad. And remember to subscribe to my channel. And if you hit that little bell up there, you'll get notification anytime I upload a video to the channel. This is an overview of the space for my new Susquehanna and Hudson River Railroad layout. We live in a duplex house. We own both sides. In the process of remodeling the other side. This time we're going to move over there. And once the side that we're living in now is empty, we're going to take the wall out between the living room and the front bedroom. Going to open this space up here where you see the layout, and that's going to become my new railroad room. Basically, I'm going to have a railroad house over here. And we're going to have a guest bedroom available if anybody should ever need that for staying for an operating session. And our dining room become the crew lounge, kitchen will be in place. And then in the garage area, the area that was originally Bath, Pennsylvania on my old railroad is still, that part of the layout still in place. Along the wall, going to put a drop in across the walkway and connect the garage part of the layout to the rest of the layout inside of the house. The yard is laid out as 2 yards. A yard is the receiving yard, which can also be used as a departure yard if needed. And B yard, which is the classification tracks. It also includes a runaround track, and it includes a caboose track to lead to the engine terminal. And over here will be a track coming in connection from a staging yard that represents interchange with foreign railroads. The key to the operation of this yard is this track right here, which we call an extension. It's an extension of yard track 1 in the A yard. And this track has 2 purposes. First of all, this is the yard main coming in to both yards. If this track is fouled, train can arrive or depart using the extension if it's clear. The second thing that's going to happen is the extension is very important for breaking trains into to classify them in the B yard. One thing I've watched for years of model railroads is a train will come into model railroad yard, switch engine gets behind the train, pulls the train out, clear the yard lead, and starts switching the entire train down the yard lead. And this is totally unprototypical. Okay, at work, when we made a switch list and put our cuts in place, we tried to keep our cuts like 6 to 10 cars, 12 max. And the reason for that is called slack. When the pin's pulled and a kick sign's given to the engineer puts on the engine brakes, the slack runs out, and the car or cars that had the pin pulled roll away from the other cars as they stop. And the more slack you have, the longer it takes to make that stop movement. And the longer it takes to switch. It's just not as efficient. It's also rough on the lading. So the way this yard's going to work is inbound trains will pull in on the extension track until the rear end clears the main. Cut will be made at the B yard crossover. The head end of the train will pull down clear of the A yard crossover, and then the rest of the train will be left in that part of the track. Power can cut off and go back to the house. And the other thing that also that happens with these double crossovers is I can switch at a yard using the yard main for a lead while the train arrives in the extension. Okay, do this over. That was wrong. The other thing I can do with the yard with these two crossovers is you can switch in B yard and use the yard main as the yard lead, which was the plan. And a train can be arriving and coming into A yard at the same time. Also, if the extension track is clear, if needed, a switch engine with a cut can sit on the yard main, and a departing train can leave via the B yard crossover out of B yard and depart the yard. If a train's made up in track 3, it can have the option of departing on the yard main or crossing over at the A crossover and departing off the extension track. So we have some flexibility here. At the west end of the A yard, there's a set of 3 crossovers. And these 3 crossovers let you use any track as a clear alley to run your power back to the other end and go to the house. If an outbound train's being built in the A yard, track 3 would be the preferred track to build an outbound train in. And by extending through the crossovers and coming down here, you're going to get about an extra 3 foot of length added to the track. And I would have liked to have had more classification tracks, but it comes down to this is a 25-inch reach now, and I really think that's the max. There have been too many layouts where they're 30-inch wide, and when you start leaning over that far, it becomes difficult to uncouple the cars with your uncoupling screws. The other move we're going to make here in the yard is this is a connecting track coming in from a staging yard that's going to represent the interchange with the Erie Railroad, the Lehigh Valley Railroad, the Jersey Central Railroad on Wilkes-Barre, and via the Wilkes-Barre Connecting Railroad to Lackawanna will also be able to come in here and interchange with the Susquehanna-Hudson River. And that track is going to run into a staging yard, double-ended, with a reverse loop. And this is an overall layout. That this area right here is where the staging yard will be underneath this part of the railroad. Again, this is Wilkes-Barre. We're departing Wilkes-Barre. We're going to go through our anthracite coal region here and start climbing up the mountains to the second level. And I've also included a reverse loop right here. So as we're starting construction, we can have a loop to Wilkes-Barre operation in place. And then later on, we'll probably just use it like a branch line connection, something like that. But it'll allow us to start operations a lot faster. So this is my plans for what I want to do with my Susquehanna-Hudson River Railroad. It's been several revisions of them. I think I've been drawing for like 9 months now, coming up with different ideas, and I think we've finally come to a concept and a utilization of the space that will make the best of what we have to work with here. Well, I hope you found my thought process in the laying out of my yard at Wilkes-Barre to be helpful to you and when you are designing a yard for your model railroad. And remember to hit that subscribe button, and if you go tap that bell, you'll get notified every time that a video is uploaded to the channel. And if you thought this video was of use to you, please give me a thumbs up, which I'm most appreciative. So now goodbye, and remember, model railroading is the best hobby in the world, and let's go off and let's do some modeling. Bye.